right, here we go.
Well, I hope you both wanted twins, because that's what you both got. Girls.
Wonderful. Damn.
Well, that was the messiest, ickiest, most unbearably primitive experience I've ever had.
If it's all right with you, I'd like to name them after my great aunts.
I shudder to ask.
Rose and Sadie.
Ugh.
You'll look so lovely in that tiara.
All right. We'll name them Rose and Sadie. What color are the stones?
Yeah, you done real good.
Oh, Garth. Why, that's your prettiest one. Well, what should we call them?
It's just a duck. Oh, you mean the, How about Rose and Sadie?
That's purty. Sadie and Rose.
We're back. Woo-hoo. We're back once again, children. My name is Pete.
And I'm Scott. And these are the movies that made us gay.
Yay!
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I hope you are enjoying yourselves. I hope you're ready for our next episode. We've got a great show today and a wonderful guest. Scott, take it away.
Oh, my gosh. We watched Big Business from 1988 with our good friend Carla Yacenda.
Yay!
How are you, Carla?
I'm
Welcome to
doing
the
great.
show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show. It's like crazy hot in Pasadena in our apartment.
We just finished
you know.
watching Big Business a matter
We
of
did.
minutes ago. And, Carla, you wanted to do Big Business.
Yes, this was probably my favorite like live action movie as a kid.
Sure.
Before, I don't know. I mean, I guess there was. What else would have been like the big movies? Beetlejuice was definitely a big one.
Beetlejuice, 1988.
Harry and the Hendersons.
I was looking up what this movie opened up against at the box office, and Pete, it opened against Poltergeist 3.
Wow.
It
Okay.
beat it in its gross, but the number one movie at the box office of June 10th through the 12th of 1988 was Crocodile Dundee 2, followed by Big, and then Big Business.
Okay.
And then rounding out the top 10 was a Rambo movie, Funny Farm with Chevy Chase, Willow, and Beetlejuice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, quite
But
the
this
weekend
is the
in
only-
1988.
Yeah.
This is the only strong female lead
This
of
is
all
true.
this.
This is true, yeah. It definitely passes the Bechdel test. It's
we've
two women on screen talking about something that usually isn't a man.
And doubled.
I mean, 4 women. There's
Four women on
4
screen, yes.
characters, I guess.
So yeah, this is a movie that I definitely remember being around when I was a kid. I remember it airing on cable, but I never used to watch it or rent it.
Yeah.
I don't
watched
think
it a lot.
I had ever watched it in its entirety until I met Pete.
Yeah.
I definitely watched it in its entirety a few times. I think it was one of those that my parents would rent whenever they would go, on a date, and it'd be like babysat. Be
Yeah.
like, I'm Big Business.
Yeah.
And watch it. And this is actually my first time watching it again as an adult. And
Oh, okay.
I think it holds up. I think it's still a great film.
I agree.
Yeah, there's some pretty funny moments in it. And yeah, it's a perfect movie for kids because it's somewhat adult, but it's still kind of silly that I could see that when this movie came out in 1988, a certain audiences of adults were probably not super into it, but it's the type of movie that kids and young people could like because it feels adult too.
It does feel adult, but the adult jokes kind of can go over kids' heads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I did not realize those two gay characters were gay.
Yeah.
I just thought they were just colleagues.
You were like Rune. He was just
exactly.
I have a few things to say about that scene when we get to it.
Childlike Rune.
Yeah, it's very childlike. Oh, Rune. But no, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think the kind of risque jokes are there for adults, but kids, they're kind of benign enough that kids wouldn't really get it. There's nothing overt. There's no like nudity or any weird like super sexual stuff.
Yeah.
So,
when the guys buy the condoms, I probably had no
Oh,
idea
yeah.
what that was.
Yeah, or
Like,
what-
whatever. Not
yeah.
even. That was getting gum or candy.
exactly.
Freshen his breath for his date.
for his little date with.
So I
Sadie.
did find out on the IMDb trivia. I don't know if this is true, but this movie was written with Barbra Streisand and Goldie Hawn in mind. Do you believe?
Yeah.
Could you see this movie with Barbara and Goldie? I
mean-
could see it as Barbara as the Bette character and Goldie as the
As
Lily
the city
character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Goldie could kind of do either of the roles because I think she could handle Sadie because as we saw in Overboard,
She can play bitch really well.
Yes, yeah. But I don't know. I guess that would have worked.
I could see Barbara as the power bitch executive, though.
As the Bette Midler characters.
But we are thankful that didn't work out because we got Bette Midler and the wonderful Lily Tomlin in this movie. Both at the top of their game.
Interesting that this was a movie that got made in the 80s that starred two strong female leads, both of them in their mid to later 40s.
Yeah, and not conventional leading ladies, too. Even for the 80s.
Yeah.
They're very outside of the box of what you think a leading lady is.
Yeah, I mean, Lily Tomlin came from the comedy world, and I think at the time especially, women in comedy were not allowed to be sexy, right? I feel like Bette Midler kind of straddled that line, but she came more from music, and she was just, in the 80s, was just her getting into more of an acting, comedy kind of field.
Because she did a whole string of movies around this time. It was this, Outrageous Fortune, Down and Out in Beverly Hills. What else am I missing? Ruthless People.
Yeah.
And all just kind of staples of the video store, too.
Oh, yeah.
That you would always
Great
see in the
cover
comedy
art.
section.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
they all had a wonderful cover. But yeah, I feel like in the 80s, like female comedians, if you were funny, you kind of were a little bit more, I don't know, just less conventionally attractive, maybe, and like Lily Tomlin. I don't know. I think this movie gave them both the chance to be feminine.
They give them a lot to work with.
Oh yeah,
definitely
a ton to work with.
And it's never their age isn't really brought up.
No,
not at all.
Even with Rose talking about having kids.
Yeah,
she
she still says she wants to get married and have kids, and like these men still like. All four of the characters have men that are chasing them the entire time.
Like, quite literally chasing them around the Plaza Hotel.
Yeah. And I think the only time age is mentioned is if, like, the driver brought it up once, and they were like, we know.
Yeah, like, don't say it. Like, I've been, driving you for the past how many years or whatever.
Yeah. I like the driver character because I feel Harlan, yeah. Because Harlan's been with them since
they were born.
Since they were born, yeah. He drove their parents. So it's like, I think he got the pass to, like, tell them to answer the damn phone and like that, all that kind of stuff. Where I don't think anybody else would have been able to talk to them that way.
And the Sadie character, the bitchy Sadie
New York
character
Sadie?
would never fire him because he's always been there.
Yeah. So okay, it gets kind of confusing because there are two actresses playing two sets of identical twins. Lily Tomlin is playing Rose. Both characters named Rose, and Bette Midler is playing Sadie.
Because the jokes of the movie wouldn't land and the plot wouldn't work out if they didn't have the same name.
Yeah, exactly. And also, if any of them had a cell phone or a pager, none of this would.
Only a comedy that would work in 1988.
Yeah. And also the fun of it is the whole country mouse, city mouse.
Yes.
So it's not just a swap.
It's like fish out of water, too.
The what?
I said fish out of water.
Oh, fish out of water, yeah, for sure. Yeah, all the stuff in New York is amazing. There's a lot of great, because of the whole country mouse, city mouse aspect of it, there's a lot of great little like sayings and colloquialisms, like referring to someone as a hayseed. I had never I've first heard that in this movie.
Country Rose says, "Hold your horses."
Does she say
when Sadie's locked in the closet?
Yeah,
she says, "Hold your horses."
My grandma used to say, "Hold your horses," but
so
yeah,
was
that's
the other one. Like when when country Sadie wanted to go out in the town. She's like, I'm not going to stick around like a clove and a baked pig or a baked hog or something like that.
A clove on a baked ham.
A baked ham.
Yeah, because you're sticking with cloves and a baked ham.
She's not sticking around like that.
No. But yeah, this movie is so cool. There's like any excuse to give Bette Midler to sing a song.
Oh yeah,
She yodels.
You gotta have Bette sing.
She got 2 song breaks in this with some yodeling.
She puts that little Walmart yodeler to shame.
No, I love the Walmart
when she does
yodeler.
that song.
Mason, we love you, Mason. Come on our show. But okay, so the plot of this though, like the real nitty gritty plot with like the company Miramax.
Yeah.
Wait, I have it. I have it written
And we
down.
should probably say that they were
Moramax.
in the opening scene. They're switched at birth at the hospital.
Yes.
Too. That's
Yes.
that's the setup of this movie.
Yes.
It's the city folk came into the country, and
Yes.
the wife has to have a kid, and the hospital's owned by the furniture conglomerate or whatever. But so the rich city guy buys it in order for his wife to give birth. And
Only employees could use that hospital, but she was having a baby now, so he's like, I bought the
right.
hospital.
So I was
And they
wondering
kept it.
in my notes, do you think this has ever happened
it has.
in real life?
It's had.
Oh my gosh.
It's happened in Colombia.
Oh my god.
Look it up,
Yeah.
guys. Though
Multiple twins that were switched.
and this is not. And this is the only time it's known to happen where it's one of each. There's been full sets of twins where it's like the whole set goes to the wrong parents.
Right.
But in Colombia, a couple of years ago, these guys figured out. You should look it up. Look up the Columbia twins.
Yeah.
There's a New York Times article.
Oh my
it's
God.
fascinating, and it's similar in that it is kind of a city-country situation
Right. Oh,
too.
wow.
But it was the reverse. It was like the country twins were born in like this small rural town, and one of them was sick, so they brought him to the hospital where the city twins are born.
Okay.
And so the sick one got sent to the city parents, and
Oh,
he
wow.
did always feel like different.
Yeah.
And it was just more serious. Like the rural family was like more quiet and serious,
Sure, okay.
and the city people were just more like goofy and
Yeah.
fun-loving.
Okay.
Huh. I don't want to get too sidetracked. But
Yeah, no, it's cool.
a fascinating
It's
article.
really interesting.
That is fascinating.
I knew
because
that it had to happen.
You think
in
the
real
story's
life.
so crazy, but it's like, come on. Yeah.
But it, as far as anyone knows, it hasn't happened before this movie
Sure.
came out.
Right.
This was something that happened, I guess, I think they're in their 20s, these guys.
Oh, like now?
Yeah, so
Oh,
this is a
okay.
recent
Oh, that
thing.
is very
Wow.
recent. Holy crap.
And it was like through someone saw a picture on Facebook, and it was
Yeah.
like, that looks just like you. And they're like,
Yeah.
that's weird. That looks like.
I was thinking about that. I was like, with all of the 23andMe stuff going on, this would have been discovered eventually if Miramax wasn't trying to strip mine.
I love
Jupiter
it. I love that
Hollow.
we're just going to refer to the company as Miramax
What
from
is
now on.
what is strip mining, by the way?
I don't know.
Who knows?
The main plot of what's exactly happening to Jupiter Hollow is a little lost on me.
But then also, when everybody's at the Plaza Hotel and the crossing of paths and the
Like,
opening
you
of
think no one would have noticed.
there's so much complicated shit going
It's
on.
very comedy of errors.
I mean,
classic.
yeah.
Classic comedy
Yeah,
stage
for sure.
work.
It's very
In and out,
farcical.
In and out of doors.
Yeah.
Mistaken identities.
Yeah, but there's a lot going on. I do have to say, watching this again as an adult, because I did, Carla, like you, I watched this a lot as a child, and that's one of the things. It's like me as a little kid. Okay, so Seth Green is in this movie. He plays Sly.
No, Sly's the dad.
Sly's the dad.
Or
Okay,
they both maybe they're both.
maybe
named
they're
Sly.
both named Sly.
Pre-nose job Seth Green.
Pre-nose job Seth Green. Okay, so the thing is, City Sadie is a divorcee, and her husband comes to complain about how she's treating their son. Spoiling him. She's giving him cash for grades, and she's giving him a lot of cash.
I bet
$100 for a C?
I bet that's pretty common
Damn.
for rich New York kids, though.
Plus, that was a wad, so you know he's probably working to get A's, knowing he can get $300 for every A. So
I mean, I guess if it gets A's on his report card,
yeah.
guess there's not anything wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that, but the dad's mad about it. But the kid is Seth Green. This movie's released in 88. I'm roughly Seth Green's age. I'm about 2-3 years younger than Seth Green. He was a small child in this, and he was obsessed with Rambo toys. And he was dressed in full army fatigues with like the bandana and like the fake guns. And this is pre toy manufacturers making guns in like crazy colors.
Yeah.
You know,
They looked like real guns.
They looked like real guns.
Yeah.
And so being a little boy around that age, that's like what I was supposed to be into, like Rambo movies and like shooting up like my parents with these fake guns and like wearing army fatigues, and I was not. I was into big business.
You'd rather go and rent Big Business from the video store and go home and watch it for the 10th
and
time.
sing along with
Looking
my
for a polka dot suit.
little old lady who. Yeah, and like a red bob, you know. I was just all about a polka dot business suit and these two gals, and I loved it. And that's really like, yeah, that's me wrapped up in a in a little nutshell as a kid, just being into this and not.
Do you
Rambo
have
at
a clip
all.
of Bette singing?
Do I have a clip of Bette singing?
Play it.
Yes, I do. We've got. Are you talking about the Swamp Mud Boys? Because I do. I've got that right here.
Well, hello, Jupiter Hollow.
Yeah, it's pretty
I
good.
know you're doing fine. Every day you work the factory. Every night a jug of wine. But now them bums and more, man, they're tired of milk and dry. But you all know my sister Rose will sound the battle cry. Sister Rose is gonna kick them in their little old lay. Their little old lay. Their little old lay. Every cent's gonna help them keep their little old lay. How do you lay, little old lay?
She also mentioned there's a live cow on stage.
Yeah.
As she's that she starts off milking at the beginning of this performance. Oh man.
And everyone in the audience is square dancing.
Oh man.
Lily Tomlin's doing her. What do you call that footwork?
Jig. I don't even know what's going on there. I love Lily Tomlin is always in a sensible flat or like a espadrille wedge. Just Country Rose's aesthetic is amazing.
And I love that Country Rose is the no nonsense of them.
So the
like,
conceit is
yeah.
that each set of twins has a stand-up bossy. They're referred to them as bossy. Each set of twins has a bossy twin and a more like demure twin, and they each get to play that side of the character.
Yeah.
I feel like as a kid, I didn't really give Lily Tomlin enough credit.
Yeah,
for her performance.
She definitely makes very distinct character choices for both of them.
I was just about to say,
I mean,
they are
as does Bette
characters.
too. But
no, well, that's the thing. As
Yeah.
a kid, you think, to me, I'm looking at Bette Midler going, oh my God, this performance is amazing. Sadie is just like out of control.
Bombshell.
Yeah. But then I didn't really think about Lily Tomlin's performance and how distinct these two characters actually are. I do want to talk about one of the early scenes in the movie where we get introduced to Sadie and how it is completely ripped off by The Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, and this piece of music that they choose, if I were to have like a theme song of when I'm leaving the house and going to work, it would be this. I've tried to track down this to see if there's a score on iTunes. It is not. You have to just get this from the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a little bit of score.
This piece of music is epic.
Yeah.
It's everything.
But I do remember, Scott, when I first showed you this movie, you were like, this is the first scene of Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
Where they introduce Miranda Priestley. Is that her name?
I'm just like going to work downtown in like a business suit and just like looking up at all the buildings.
Yeah, but like all the people in the office, like, she's here. She's here. And like everybody getting all scared.
Yeah. Do you think that Bette was just sitting in the audience for Devil Wears Prada and was like, that's cute? Yeah.
I already
seen that
did this.
before. Already did this.
They didn't have Mary Gross in this one.
No.
Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, Mary Gross.
movies that made us gay all-star. Third movie of Mary Gross.
Yeah, she was
This time with Brother.
Yeah.
This time with Brother.
We had her first in Troop Beverly Hills. Then we had her in Baby Boom, which I didn't know she was in.
She pretty much plays the same character in Baby Boom as she does in this.
Yeah.
If you ever need a put-upon secretary, Mary Gross is on speed dial.
And I guess she evolved into Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
If they did like an 80s...
I mean, they would have had to have known that they were
when they were making Devil Wears Prada.
Devil Wears Prada.
Some gay on the set was like
That they were sort of ripping off.
Can
the
I
scene.
show you this movie?
She's like commenting on office girls and what they're wearing.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah. She fully told that woman. What did she tell that woman? Oh, is this how we're dressing to the office today? You look like a blood clot.
Mm-hmm.
She was like wearing a red dress. Carla, did you notice as a kid what they did with the wardrobe, where like they would set up the city twins in outfits, and then the country twins would wear like a dress barn version of that outfit?
Yeah.
I did not pick up on that as a kid, no.
The off-the-rack version of it?
Yeah. Even as a kid,
That's clever.
I kind of I caught it in a couple of looks, especially with Sadie. There were a couple of looks where like she would wear like a hat, or she had like the very first scene, she had like a cape almost, like a weird white capelet, and then when the country girls got to New York, when the Ratliffs got to New York, she had, it was a different color, but it was like a capelet.
It was Sadie trying to replicate what she thinks a big city girl would wear.
Yeah.
Both Sadies were in a lot of white, red, and black.
Yes.
And both Roses were in a lot of like lavender and pinks.
And pink. Yeah. And the Rose sisters had like they would have like something tied around their neck, like a neckerchief or something, but Country Rose always had like, it was like lace. And I did like that Country Rose wore a pair of high-waisted pink culottes.
Yeah.
And her Tuesday panties.
And her Tuesday panties. And her traveling
And
look.
both Roses have the buttons. One is Save
The
Jupiter
Whale.
Hollow. The other is Save the Whales.
Save the Whales,
It's very
you're
clever.
right.
It kind of...
See, I didn't even catch that.
It tips you off as the audience of which one's on screen.
City Rose had Save the Whales, Stop Acid Rain.
Yeah.
And Country Rose had Axe Moramax and Save Jupiter Hollow.
Mm-hmm. And they both had kind of their comedic props, like City Rose with the shoulder pad always falling.
Oh, yeah.
And Country Rose had her...
Yeah,
her bangles.
That's right.
Her rattlesnake bangles.
Her bracelet rattlesnake bangles. That was so funny. I do like that Country Rose's hairstyle is a little bit more like Peg Bundy.
Mm-hmm.
She has like she has bangs and like a back combed like ratted hair, and then City Rose is just like 80s Lily Tomlin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about Rose's boyfriend.
Rune?
Played by Fred Ward. Who is so fucking adorable.
The professional miniature golfer?
The professional miniature golfer, yes.
I'm going to call him the redneck Richard Gere.
Yes, that works. Redneck Richard Gere.
Yeah, he's always wearing these like tight-fitting jeans.
Well, I mean,
With
he looks very current. He's very on trend for
his hair looks really
current
great.
Day. He's wearing clothes that fit him is the thing, and you didn't see that a lot in the 80s. Yeah, he was wearing fitted jeans and like a plaid shirt. Granted, it was like tucked in with the sleeves rolled up and all that, very country. But he does look very current, and yeah, Fred Ward's a looker.
So there's that scene later. We talked about it a little bit, and we're not quite going in order because it's pretty silly to go through this movie beat by beat because it gets a little confusing at times. But there's that scene with the gay couple in the hotel.
Sure.
That I watch it now and I'm just like, oh man, what's gonna happen? Like, are they gonna somehow like get him in the bed with this guy? Like,
he's doing his
It's
push-ups.
like Fred Ward is already shirtless. I'm like, oh my gosh.
And Edward Herrmann.
Oh my god.
I mean, it seemed like Edward Herrmann is more jealous than wanting him in.
Yeah, for sure.
Was it Graham? Chuck?
Graham is Graham is Edward Herrmann. Yeah, Chuck was very much like fawning over Rune. Yeah. And Graham is like, all right, putting the kibosh on that.
And I like that Fred Ward's character is just so naive to gay men that he just assumes that they're sleeping in the same bed because...
For his sake.
Yeah.
For his sake, just so they won't put him out.
Yeah. So, Carla, you mentioned as a kid just it going over your head that they were in a couple, that they were, and to me as well, like, there's this scene where they're having kind of a celebratory dinner that gets interrupted by Sadie, and they bring over their like dinner, and granted, Edward Herrmann is going a little crazy with the hand gestures, but they're sitting on the same side of the booth, to eat their meal together.
Mm-hmm.
And
Cornish hen.
A Cornish gay men. And as a kid, I didn't think anything of that. And then later on, like,
they're in kimonos.
he's in a little shorty kimono, and he says he got it on Fire Island. What do we know?
And I like that.
We don't know what the hell Fire Island
Fred
is.
Warm asked him if he got it in Vietnam.
Did you get that Nam? Here, hold on. I got a little bit of that.
Oh my God. He is not a Ratliff. His name is Rune Dimmick. He's traveling with $25, no credit cards, and a harmonica. Will you look at this quilt? Oh, the workmanship.
Simply because you're near me. Eh? Hey, I like your kimono. You get that, Nam?
No, Fire Island.
Huh.
Well, let's all have a drinky, shall we?
No, I think it's time for Betty Bye. Chuck?
Good night, Rune.
Rune's doing push-ups.
Good name, Rune.
Don't tell me you two guys are sleeping in the same bed together.
Yes.
Gee, I feel awful about that. Now, if you want, one of you can take the couch, and I'll share the bed.
Oh, that's very generous of you, but we wouldn't hear of it.
You guys are all right.
Yeah. Completely over my head as a kid.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
And watching it this time, I was thinking, oh, did they like move to Jupiter Hollow afterwards? Because it was so cute how they're like, they're like, oh, look at this quilt. This seems so nice. And they all kind of fell in love with the story Rune told about like why he misses being in Jupiter Hollow. So I kind of expected that at the end, like you'd see them show up in Jupiter Hollow.
In the sitcom that would like take place after the movie ended, like they all moved back to Jupiter Hollow, except for City Sadie.
Yeah.
So I was thinking as I was watching this, the New York twins are managing, Miramax now in the 80s, that this is their father's company, and now they're like the heads. I would imagine Sadie's like the head of this company. They're the head of like the stockholders and the shareholders.
And I'm sure that
and
there
all
had never been women in power in this in this company
so
before.
Like Sadie's character was just such like this Alex P. Keaton like gung ho, and the dad was just like, sure, like run the company. So I'm thinking like, okay, they came up through the ranks and now they're running, this legacy, deal. I'm thinking, I kind of want to see like, I want their backstory. I want like the Rose and Sadie Diaries, like a prequel series on the CW of them as young upstart girls and like in New York and in Jupiter Hollow.
Yeah,
because like I want to see like Country Rose as like a girl in her early 20s. Like what's she doing in Jupiter Hollow?
And Jupiter Hollow Sadie never feeling like she's fitting in.
Yeah.
That she always dreams about the city, but she's stuck in this podunk town.
Yeah. I liked there's scenes set up at the very beginning with both sets where they kind of telegraph to us that one of them is not right for where they are, and I think it kind of gave them a good chance to set up a little bit of their characters and do some real kind of some funny work. I really liked Bette Midler's. I'll play a little of that here.
I feel like the real me is all cooped up inside, and I want so many things. I want designer clothes. I want to see the world. I want a penthouse in the sky and a maid to pick up after me. I want to say things like, keep the change. God, sometimes I get so bored. I find myself just praying for a UFO sighting. I'd stand here and I'd say, come and get me. Come and get me.
Yeah, well, you're bored because you got no sense of purpose. Why don't you help me with this Moramax mess?
Over my dead... What do you mean? Leave town? Go to New York City?
It's a dangerous, dirty, low-down place,
I know. Oh, my God. What'll I wear? I gotta get my hair cut. Oh, this is just the sense of purpose I need. I gotta get me some of those press-on nails. Do those things stay up? I wouldn't want them flopping off in any of those fancy nightclubs.
Listen, nightclubs, this is business. Now you get a grip on yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Bette Midler's performance is really funny. She's always really funny, but there was some really good stuff with I think with both characters. I really liked
And to bring it back to those Colombian twins, that was kind of the saddest part of that story. Was the one who was supposed to be in the city, who got sent to the country. He was like taken out of school at 14 and made to like work the fields, and he always did feel like I should be a professional. I want more for myself, but it was like taken from him. So when he did find out, can you imagine like finding out like I was actually supposed to live that life of like more, they weren't like the family that he was supposed to be with, not like super rich or anything, but the rural family was like super poor.
Oh man.
So again,
we'll get right on writing that. We'll write the comedy version of that movie. Big Business 2. Colombian Boys. Oh man.
Sorry to bring the mood down.
Oh no, not at all. I mean, it's just.
But
it's
pertinent.
pertinent.
I mean, if you do think about it, like it's all, it's funny in the movie. But yeah, if you really think about it, like, man, if you actually did find out, all these things I was thinking my whole life, feeling like I didn't belong and I should be somewhere else, and find out, you actually were supposed to be somewhere else.
I feel like Country Sadie is cool with it. Like she gets it, but she also did. In the end, she did love Jupiter Hollow,
right?
Yeah, because we kind of got her.
She
knew where she came from too, and she loved it.
Yeah. Whereas City Sadie just kind of became like the villain of the movie at the end.
Yeah.
You're like, is she gonna go to jail? Like, she's just gonna stay in this closet forever.
Well, Fabio seemed to forgive everything.
Yeah, he lost out on this fabulous deal.
I guess he really liked her.
I guess so.
They just kind of walked off.
Whatever,
the sunset as
whatever
well.
he was planning on strip mining Jupiter Hollow 4. Were they trying to find gold or something? I don't know.
So, what exactly is this business that Sadie runs? Like what exactly are they?
I feel like they mentioned pharmaceuticals at some point.
She did, yeah. She said
just a bit one of those just giant companies that has a lot of.
Is it that weird 80s thing like what Richard Gere does in Pretty Woman that they buy?
We don't need to.
They
know.
buy bankrupt companies. You saw that a lot in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to know exactly what they do or manufacture.
Just know it's bad.
Yeah, or maybe they don't manufacture anything. They just buy other companies.
That's what Richard Gere did in Pretty Woman.
Exactly. You don't buy anything. You don't make anything. Like that was my Julia Roberts impression, by the way, because that's how
that was a really good Julia Roberts.
That's how emotive of an actress I think she is. Anyway, back to Big Business. So this is not the Plaza Hotel that they're filming in.
No, it's a set.
Giant set.
They couldn't clear the plaza to film there. I just read that before we started recording, so they had to build this all in the Disney stages in Burbank.
Now, did they use this again for Home Alone 2 Lost in New York? Because it looks exactly the same.
I think they actually shot in the plaza for Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. I did see that they later repurposed this set for a sitcom.
Not The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody?
No.
That would have been too.
Hold on, let me find out what it was.
Well, the set is crazy.
It's called the Nut House.
I do not know what the show is.
Yeah, that's what they repurposed the sets
and
for.
If it was made in, like, the late 80s, who knows?
It's gone the time
now. That is lost to IMDb. Someone will look it up and find it. But, yeah, the set was really cool. Like, it's a huge set.
Yeah.
I just imagined that as a kid, I just was like, oh, well, they said it was the plaza. I know that's a real place, so they probably just shot it there. I love that there's also this bum on the sidewalk.
Yeah, the bum just seeing Lily Tomlin and Bette Midler come in and out, and he sees the doubles of them.
Does he just live on the sidewalk in front of the plaza?
It's a very 80s person, a very 80s homeless person, too.
Yeah,
like
for
you
sure.
saw this type a lot in the 80s.
He's always eating a banana. He doesn't have like a paper bag bottle. Yeah. But he looks drunk. He's acting hobo drunk. Like that 80s hobo drunk where he's just like stumbling around. He's like, hey, mister. I've
seen things.
Yeah, there's two of everybody in there.
Pretty soon you'll see yourself.
Yeah. He was also, like Carla, you mentioned with one of the sound breaks that it was very Night Court.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of like heavy bass. Yeah. Yeah. All that going
people
on.
Walking. There's a lot of people in New York. Look
So
at all
many
those
people. 80s New York. But yeah, the bum was very Night Court. He was very much like... there was a Night Court bum character that was a repeat character, but just... That Muppet Show like background of the audience of Night Court. But yeah, this movie was a time in New York pre Giuliani.
It's like it's a little scary New York, but still kind of getting cleaned up, like the very beginnings of it. Too.
Well, when Rune gets there, when the girls get there, it's like glamorous business. Well, not glamorous, but it's like business New York. So it's like people in business suits and women with tennis shoes, but like in a business suit, and like taxis everywhere, and just 80s like
hustle and bustle.
Hustle and bustle of New York.
Go back
City.
to my theme.
But
go back to the big business theme.
Yeah. But when Rune gets to New York, it's on Broadway, the song, and it's
hookers.
He gets to Times Square, so he gets hookers, porno theaters, and like break
before
dancers.
Like tourist trap Times Square.
Yeah, there's no Olive Garden in that Times Square. It was like fully like a quarter peep show.
And the country girls are supposed to stay at the Y.
Yeah,
then they're because of the mix-up. They're at the Plaza, so he goes to the Y, and they're like, nope.
Yeah.
Got the Plaza now.
Yeah, and they made a point of Rose saying, well, I guess we just got to call and cancel our reservations at the Y, because otherwise Rune never would have known. Yeah. They had to, like, there's so much of this plot that they had to, like, set up and map out. There, I'm just picturing, like, a giant, like, dry erase board or cork board with, like, red yarn everywhere.
I would imagine that both Lily and Bette had this, like, board of when they were starting to film, like, who am I today?
Yeah,
this is where I'm starting the day. They have like,
because
you see that with like actors that they have like emotional boards, or they have like something to keep their minds straight for the script of where they are in the day.
Because the performances are so different.
Both of them had that for this going into it.
Yeah. There's a mix up at the airport. The city twins, the country twins,
get mistaken for the city
twins and take their room at the Plaza. Why are the city twins at the Plaza when they live in New York City?
Don't know. That's not explained.
Who knows? Yeah. Maybe just to be close to Fabio?
Yeah,
possibly.
It's a big city. Maybe just easier than commuting.
Yeah,
and Country Sadie is getting swept up in the glamorous life of living in the city too.
Well, everybody at the hotel is giving them like all this stuff.
She immediately wants to move into the Plaza.
Yeah, they think they're the what are their last? We can't keep calling them country and city.
Well, there's the Sheltons are the city ones, and the Ratliffs are Ratliffs are the.
So yeah,
country.
Everybody thinks they're the Sheltons, so they keep giving them things. They keep they give them a room. The suite is okay. First of all, this suite is crazy.
It kind of reminds me of the suite from Bachelor Party.
It looks like the suite from Bachelor Party. Sadie says it looks like the White House. But my only problem is it's this giant suite with like a full-on like living room, like huge bedroom, blah blah blah. But then they're like two queen beds next to each other.
They're not even queen.
And there's not even a nightstand in between. They're like literally next to each other.
How else would we get those shots of outside?
We need the shots of them in bed.
And you need the shots of them outside the window with both sets of twins looking out.
Yeah, but they could have put a nightstand in between their between their
and there's
beds.
a lot of fun stuff with the hotel staff that they get berated by Sandy in one scene, and then she's very sweet to them in the next.
Yeah.
So everyone's sort of caught
confused.
off guard
Yeah.
of when the personalities change.
There's a couple of different hotel people. There's the fake Kyle MacLachlan, who's like, I would assume the manager.
I guess.
Yeah, because he took
the guy's a concierge.
Yeah, because he took the Ratliffs up,
Yeah.
and so he got to know them as being nice. And then when he saw
the
Sheltons, he went to shake Sadie's hand, and she was like looking at him like, "Fuck you, piece of shit." And then there's like the concierge guy, who thinks that Sadie Ratliff wants to bone him.
Yeah.
And he bought the
just
condoms.
she's just a pure country girl, just being nice.
Yes.
But as a city guy, he's thinking, she wants me.
Yes, but not only is she being nice, she's kind of saying things. She's being naive too, because she's saying things that turn out to be innuendo. She's like, "Well, what are you doing tonight?"
Yeah, the view's amazing.
Yeah.
In my room, you haven't seen the view?
Yeah.
'Cause I haven't been above the 3rd floor.
Well, you gotta come up. Yeah. And let me just say, that actor is in Batman Forever.
Oh.
We just saw it. He was a security guard.
Oh my God!
In the safe.
It's boiling
It's
acid.
boiling acid. Yeah, it's that guy. It's the same. That's the same actor. Yeah. So he gets punched in the face.
Yeah.
By
mistaken. He goes up, and it's the city. It's Sadie Shelton.
He's got a 2-pack of condoms in his pocket. He's got 2 champagne
and
glasses.
that was probably the most risque scene as a kid, because he
Yes.
basically touches her chest. And so,
Yeah.
And
True.
it was like, you just know as a kid, you're not supposed to do that. You don't do that.
Do not touch a lady. I used to be allergic to Angora, but not anymore.
So we should probably talk about the couples switching in this movie, because they start to give everyone their own love interest. That's a little opposite of the character. Should we talk about that?
Well, okay, so everybody is set up at the beginning with their own current love interest, whether they're with them
or
now or in the past.
Yeah, so only
Country Sadie has Fred Ward.
Rune.
Yeah.
The miniature golf
Country
professional.
Rose has Fred Ward. Rose.
Country.
Yeah.
Country Rose. Country Sadie is actually single.
Yes.
She's free.
She's looking. She's on the prowl. She's hot to trot in New York City.
She had that one hick try to get a pig for her.
Yeah. Petey
but
was
he's covered in pig slop, so she's like, nope, I'm not going to get that grape soda with you.
Yeah, a grape soda.
And then City Sadie is divorced.
Yes.
But is being kind of romanced by this
the Italian
buyer.
businessman buyer.
And money launderer. He's clearly like a crook.
Like he's fully going to go to kind of like in the Wolves of Wall Street, he's fully going to go to prison.
Like a white-collar
at
prison.
the end of the 80s.
Yeah. And City
Rose has a nice doctor.
Yeah.
It seemed like they broke up because she brought up marriage, and that scared him. But then we kind of find out what really scared him was her sister. Like,
Yes.
he didn't want to marry into her family.
Which is kind of jacked up, but...
Yeah.
And then eventually...
I mean, Sadie's bad, but...
Right.
And then eventually Fred Ward meets City Rose.
Right.
But he mistakes her.
Yeah.
And he mistakes her, but they kind of hit it off even more.
She's a little more sweet, you know.
Yeah.
She's
yeah.
a little more... kind of naive like he is,
Yeah.
you know. Like,
Yes. And I would think that Country Rose would...
She'd do well with the doctor.
Yeah, she'd do well with the doctor, and I think she'd be a little standoffish to Rune. Mm-hmm. And I think she's a little bit more... She's a little bit more butch.
Yeah. Country Rose, right?
Yeah, Country Rose. She's a little bit more butch. I think Rune needs City Rose to to be a little bit more.
And obviously, Country Rose wasn't that into him. Otherwise,
No,
she wouldn't have missed his miniature golf tournament.
Yeah, exactly. She would have.
She went off to the city. She's an ambitious, independent woman.
I mean, granted, she needed to save the entire town, so she was putting the good of the many over the good of the one. But still, she had this man who was ostensibly going to propose to her with a shrunken down miniature golf ball. What does that mean? That is a real golf ball shrunken down.
He saw it in, what was it? Big Putts magazine.
Oh, Big Putt. That is a joke that is like such a little throwaway line, but Big Putts magazine is really funny, you guys.
And I think it was Dr. J.
Dr. J.
By Mary Gross's brother.
Yes, Michael Gross.
Yeah,
Stephen Keaton.
Just put a little bob wig on that guy, and you have his sister.
Yeah, Stephen Keaton from Family Ties.
Yeah. We didn't get a whole lot of necessarily... Not a lot of personality from him, but just
But
him.
also... Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I guess they were figuring, that would be a good match, because if he's a doctor, he must be ambitious. Maybe he'd do well with this ambitious woman who's a little more with it, I guess.
Because he barely had one
Rose.
Scene with Rose.
City Rose.
But even with Country Rose. And that's who he ends up with at the end.
Yeah.
I know all they're doing is walking down the street.
Yeah.
So it's like, who knows?
Like, let's just get to know each other. Let's get a hot dog.
For the sake of the movie, they're just walking down the street. But I guess the intent is like, oh, they're going to like go off into the sunset together. But I was like,
yeah, it was kind of weird.
Did they even have a scene together? They had one scene.
Barely.
Yeah, and it was barely anything.
She shakes her bangles at him.
She like did the snake thing.
But probably the sweetest would be Country Sadie meeting City Sadie's
ex-husband,
because she agrees their kid,
they
Seth
run
Green,
into each
is
other.
a little brat, and she
F.A.O. Schwartz,
and he because he thinks it's his ex he's talking to. He's like, well, his mother spoils him.
Yeah,
and she's like, well, that's
and you
kind
of got that when he meets her, he thinks a lot about what Sadie used to be when she was younger.
He courted her.
Kind of like when he first fell in love with her. That was the old Sadie.
Yeah.
And she sort of like brings that out.
Yeah. So then Seth Green's, if they do get together, that means that his stepmom is also his aunt?
Yeah. I mean, it all works out at the end. They all go off in their separate directions, and no one seems to be...
It's all good.
No one seems to care, so it all worked out in the end.
I mean, it's cool.
And that's it. That is kind of what makes it a kid's movie. It's just that sort of movie magic.
Yeah. There is, much like a lot of movies set in the mid-'80s in New York City, there's a scene in F.A.O. Schwartz, which we also talked about in Big Business.
This is Big Business.
I'm sorry, in
Baby Boom.
Baby Boom. Carla, have you been to the F.A.O. Schwartz in New York City?
Yes, I have.
As have I.
I have not.
Scott has not.
No.
I don't even know if it's still there. It might not even be there anymore.
I mean, I know the company still exists, but I don't think they have a main store anymore.
Yeah. And
even in New York?
I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah. We'll IMDb that. We'll get one of the cats to check it on the Wikipedia. But I remember at the time, like, seeing it in movies, seeing it in Big Business, and just being like, what is the deal with this store? And my mom just being like, it's this huge toy store in New York City in Manhattan, and the whole thing was that it has everything, and it had a lot of toys out that you could like play with. Yeah. And that to me was like, what?
Update, it is still open.
Yay!
Yeah.
Field trip to F.A.O. Schwartz.
It closes tonight at 9.
For good?
No. It's still open now. I think they just they have 2 New York stores and that's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I do remember, and I may have mentioned this in Baby Boom, but there was an F.A.O. Schwartz in the Glendale Galleria in the 90s. And it was, it was in a mall just here in LA. It was in the Glendale Galleria, and I remember being like, "Holy cow!" And it was big, but it wasn't multiple. It wasn't 2 floors like the.
There's no escalators.
No, nothing like that. But it was big and it was cool, and I did enjoy it at the time. But the Glendale Galleria, while still a good mall, no longer has their F.A.O. Schwartz. Oh well. No. But yeah, it's unclear what Country Sadie was buying. I'm assuming she was getting something for her nieces and nephews. She's got. They have 10 siblings. They set up that there are like 6 boys and 4 girls or something in the Ratliff family.
Well, because even the day they were born, they show all of them.
Yeah. Yes, they're very like Cletus and Brandine, like. They just had all these kids, and I at the time
she must be super fertile.
I just thought it was really funny. There's some really cute stuff when she just comes out and she's just like, "It's time."
And then the doctor, when the doctor tells them both that they got twins, the city dad was like, "That's wonderful," and country dad's like, "Damn,
yeah."
That's
like,
one more mouth to feed.
When they were pushing, she was just like. She's so been there, done that.
We should also mention that Sadie's mother is Mother Dearest from Strangers with Candy.
Yes, the Shelton parents. The mother is played by the actress who's in Strangers with Candy, who's the stepmother in Strangers with Candy.
Deborah Rush.
What else did she do in the 80s?
Probably a couple of things.
Yeah, because she looks really familiar, but I can't place it.
Probably a couple of things. The father was a character actor.
She works the rounds, though. Yeah. She's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I just realized, remember I commented on how Sadie was wearing a tiara at the end, but then it must have been the mothers, because remember he says, like, you're going to look beautiful in that tiara.
And that tiara.
So that was like her.
And she says, what color are the stones?
So
that's a good little prop detail.
It's almost like maybe she didn't want children, but he did. So he's like, I'll get you a tiara if you have a child.
And that is where they set up in that opening scene when we see the two sets of parents. They really set up their types, because the Mother Shelton was very much just like she was over this being pregnant.
It's disgusting.
She hated, West Virginia. Like, she was just...
And even just giving birth to a child in West Virginia is just such a...
Yeah.
She just doesn't even want it.
Yeah, and she was just like, fine, we'll name them Rose and Sadie. She did not even care.
Because that was his grandmother's name?
His grandmother's, I think.
Yeah, so he's a little more sentimental, and also kind of sets it up that each twin would have sort of the distinct personalities for each set.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the parents did too. Like, Country mom was like a little more docile, and city dad was a little more sweet.
Yeah, true. Oh my God, see?
All right, so we have to talk about when they all come face to face with each other in the bathroom of the plaza.
Yeah, it's subtle.
Yeah.
That scene.
Just a little subtle.
Well, we should probably back up with the two Sadies are wearing the exact same outfit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that makes it more
iconic,
comical.
Yeah, the iconic polka dot
They
dress.
both buy this black and pink polka dot business suit.
Is it white or is it kind of like... I always thought it was like a very pale pink.
Yeah,
but I feel like maybe just the TV showing it a little.
So they both buy this dress in the lobby of the plaza.
Yes.
They've both been eyeing this dress, and you see these cute scenes where they both miss each other looking at it, too.
And also, Country Sadie had a little bit of longer hair, and she cuts it into this matching bob.
That's right.
That she paid $12 for.
Or as you like to say, the Scarlett Johansson Avengers.
The Black Widow hair.
The Black Widow hair.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed in the Avengers they always give Black Widow this Bette Midler big business hair?
What?
At least in the first two they do.
I've never seen any.
I always thought that was so weird.
It's fine. You can catch up today, and I expect a report.
I don't
tomorrow.
like any superhero movies.
It's fine.
Even Guardians of the Galaxy, people are like, well, you like that one. But
yeah, you're like, I don't care.
Not really.
That's okay. It's not for everyone.
Thor Ragnarok, you'll like that one. No, you probably won't like that one either. Yeah, they style Scarlett Johansson a little closer to this, but that's just our opinion. But yeah, so they buy this little polka dot number, and I like, even as a kid, I thought it was funny when Bette Midler, Sadie walks into the boutique, and she's like, "I'll have that dress in my size. I'm a 3."
The woman looks at her like,
she's like,
and the woman at the shop is like,
She's like, 5, 7, okay, 9.
A 9. Yeah, I love that. But that's also like Bette Midler. Not a big woman at all by any means.
Probably very petite.
Yeah, when you see her, she's probably a
tiny
little lady. But at the time, even by today's standards, that's like she's show business fat.
Yeah, they make jokes about it, like she's on a diet again.
Yeah,
like she's in a bad mood.
Yep, exactly.
Well, and that's what's kind of interesting about Bette Midler is that when you look back into the 80s and who was making movies at the time, who was her contemporaries that she would be compared to?
Goldie, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, just Goldie Hawn. I mean, even Meryl Streep at the time was doing super heavy movies, so they wouldn't have even been in the same category in casting.
As far as like Bette Midler was going in for like comedic roles.
Yes.
That's the thing. She's always been very big and broad, and she is a broad, and she does these really, really good kind of a New York character.
I'm trying to think. Bernadette Peters, maybe?
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think of other kind of
she was kind of
comedic
in
actresses.
a category all by herself at the time.
I mean, Shelley Long was trying to break into that world, and they did Outrageous Fortune together, but they're so different types. Shelley Long is that Diane Chambers character. She is very much the like more prim and proper, where Bette Midler is like
the body.
Yeah. And I think she was trying to maybe with Sadie show a little bit of range because she was more of like a sophisticated New York business person as opposed to like another kind of New Yorker that she typically would play.
Yeah.
Well, back to thinking Beetlejuice is the same year. Catherine O'Hara.
Oh yeah,
was
yeah.
starting out basically.
Yeah.
And then doing Home Alone. She kind of had.
Yeah,
she had
totally.
comedic chops.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is when I was last watching Beetlejuice, not to kind of a little sidetrack, Catherine O'Hara, my age, when she made
When
it,
she made
33.
Beetlejuice?
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm the same age as Catherine O'Hara from Beetlejuice now.
I mean, you could have a 14-year-old gothic stepdaughter. Why not? But yeah, I think Bette Midler's just kind of persona at the time was bigger than life. But I mean, she is a very petite woman, and yeah, I think it's interesting the whole it's a whole other topic, but she's definitely
Well, she has big boobs.
She
and that
does, yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
makes women look bigger than they are.
and make her go up a size if it's a dress, probably, right? Like if you're one size on the top and one other size on the bottom, that's like a whole thing, right? I would imagine. I don't have that problem.
Yeah, it's been a while since I bought a business suit, so I don't really know.
Is that a business suit? It's got polka dots,
Right. Well, I
Like,
guess that's
yeah.
why. I guess that's why the other. Which Rose was it? Because then there was that. That was the first time they switched.
Yes,
with
when
the
they
wrong
yes
twin.
because they were
And
often.
what did she say? She looked like a prison ward or something.
Well, okay, so yeah, I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
So
Basically, wanted to soften her up. I
yes,
guess.
the first time the sisters meet their not their counterpoint, but like the wrong sibling, essentially.
It's so hard to explain.
It's so hard to
Yeah.
explain. But Country Rose sits down to breakfast with City Sadie. So this means we have both type
And these
A,
are the both. Yep, exactly.
both of the like,
A little more the
aggressive,
sassier ones.
sassy sisters are sitting with each other, and City Sadie comes in and she's wearing a gray like coat with this crazy
Like tassel brooch.
brooch.
But just kind of militant looking.
Very military. I think it's just a black skirt and like it's like a t-shirt underneath. The blouse is like a t-shirt blouse, but it has like a medallion print, almost
Right.
like a.
It had some emblem or something.
It had like an emblem, but almost like the Medusa. Who's the Medusa? Versace, or is it Gucci?
Is it
I think it's Versace.
I think the Medusa's Versace. It almost looked like the Versace Medusa, emblem on this T-shirt underneath this gray blazer, and she's like, "You look." Rose says, "You look like you run the state prison,"
which is very uncharacteristic of City Rose. So,
yes, to call
City
out
Sadie was kind of
yeah,
like, "Well,
yeah.
you're in a mood today" or something. I forget what she
Yeah.
said, but was like, "Whoa, like that's unlike you, but okay.
Mhm.
Like I guess I'll find something else to wear." Like she was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, I'll consider this." Yes.
And Country Sadie purposely bought the dress. She wanted that dress, and
Right.
she spilled boysenberry jam
on her old
polyester blazer.
Right.
My brand new polyester blazer.
And they set it up earlier when she had the money
Mhm.
that
which they thought was a bribe.
that they thought
Yes.
was bribe money, but she was eyeing
See,
that dress.
all this stuff.
Yeah.
You have to
I
set
know,
up the
'cause
money.
It was
It's a
actually
very-
the kids' money. It was Seth
Yeah.
Green's
It's
money.
a very tight script. Everything. It's all puzzle.
It feels really convoluted, but they're all puzzle pieces.
It's all puzzle pieces.
That's all money.
It's complicated, but it all fits together. It's like Mulholland Drive.
It really is. This is the Mulholland Drive of the 80s. It's the cash that
that City Sadie was giving her son for good grades.
yeah.
Sly, her ex-husband,
Mhm.
makes him give it back. They put it in an envelope, give it to the plaza. They're like, "This is for Sadie," but
And Kyle MacLachlan gives it to
Yeah,
her
to
because
the
he
Country
thinks
Sadie.
that's
Yes.
City Sadie.
And so Country Rose thinks, "Oh, they're trying to bribe us."
Yeah.
And don't you use that? She's like, "Well, just because we use it doesn't mean we'll, do
Taking
what
the
they
bribe, yeah.
Yeah, just because we take it doesn't mean we'll do what they say."
Yeah.
So she used that to buy the dress.
And there was enough dough
Mhm.
in
To buy
there
that
to buy not only to buy a dress, but she skimmed it off the top. I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't the whole amount. She opened it up, saw the cash, skimmed a couple of hundo, put it in her drawer, and then put the rest of the cash back in and showed that to Rose and was like, "Look at all this cash." And she was like, "That's a bribe." So how much does this
How much do you think that
business suit costs?
I would
at
say
a boutique in the plaza. So you know that's more than the street value.
I would probably say
that dress.
maybe 300.
If she went in 1987 or whatever, yeah. If she went to go buy that at the mall, if she got it at like Talbot's,
it'd be $80.
Yeah. No, maybe I don't know.
She even said 100 for a C. Like if he was getting 100 for a C, what was he getting for a B?
Exactly. It was 100 for every C, 200 for every B, and it was a wad of hundreds. So granted, you have a bunch of classes at the time, and you have like spelling and social studies and all that. So, and let's say maybe he got all she said was 100 for every C, 200 for every B's. So like I'm saying, if my mom tells me that, I'm fucking busting my ass to get as many A's as possible.
That's why it's kind of a good idea.
Because that's at least 300 an A. At least. I would be like 200 for a B. And I got an A. Can I get 4 for every A? Come on, it's harder to get an A. So there's maybe like $800 in there, at least $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly in hundreds.
And he's just carrying it around in his pocket all together with a money clip.
Going to get Rambo toys at F.A.O. Schwartz.
Yeah.
Shit.
He could have bought that floor piano.
He could have bought the floor piano.
So this is all building up.
Go ahead.
We should probably say this is all building up to the big scene in the bathroom, too. It's the big centerpiece of this movie.
Okay.
When they all come face to face.
So I give there's some corny jokes in this movie. There's some smart jokes in this movie, but the Harpo Marx mirror stuff is a little heavy-handed.
I think it's pretty funny though.
She does it really well. Bette Midler sells it.
Yeah.
Shelley Long may not have been able to sell this if she was if it was big business with Shelley Long and like who else would have been in it with Shelley Long and like Meg Ryan and Shelley Long. Are they too similar?
Oh man,
Meg Ryan would probably be too young for this.
Shelley Long and Mary Steenburgen.
Yeah.
Or like you were saying, it was supposed to be Barbara
Streisand.
Barbara and Goldie.
That would have been Barbara doing this.
We'll just say that Shelley Long and Mary Steenburgen were the plan
alternates.
C. Were the plan C of this casting.
The TV version, the Lifetime movie version of this. They would have done the sitcom at the end where everybody moves back to Jupiter Hollow.
They got to reuse that plaza set, man.
Shit.
They built that whole plaza set on the ABC lot.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I would have watched the sequel sitcom where everybody moves back to Jupiter Hollow and then we go back to the plaza because, I don't know, somebody
they have something new to say.
Yeah.
Well, you would have to have the
Sly's dropping out of his prep school or something.
Your A story would be at the plaza, and the B story would be in Jupiter Hollow. So you could do both.
I mean, you would think that they would set it all at the plaza, but I also agree with Carla that so many of the characters would have fallen in love with. I feel like Graham and Chuck for sure would move back to Jupiter Hollow, and Rune and City Rose definitely have to move back. So there's a lot of back and forth. But I also really strongly believe in my Rose and Sadie Diaries pitch.
Yeah.
For a teen, a teen CW show.
So that
Country Rose was definitely ASB president.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yes.
So that would be
she was FFA. she was raisin sheep for the FFA.
So
feature
City
farmers.
and City, Rose, and Sadie would be New York in the mid 70s.
Yeah.
So really scary New York.
Yes, late 70s, and I feel even though City Rose is the more sweet one, I think she still would have been really into the Runaways and the Pretenders.
Oh man,
because as
CBGB.
Yes, as evidenced by her cool Tina Turner T-shirt.
Oh yeah, I laughed so hard when I saw that when it reveals that she's wearing this Tina Turner T-shirt to bed.
She's lounging in bed in this very 80s robe with marabou feather lining. And then she kind of turns and it reveals this Tina Turner concert T-shirt, and it's oh my god, I love it, love it. But yeah, my Carrie Diaries / Rose and Sadie Diaries. I'm writing it today.
Because they would have been in the prep schools, but maybe she would slum it with she would find some arty Greenwich Village friends.
Yeah, and what is late 70s Sadie doing? She's so into business.
I mean,
I think that she's
daddy's girl.
I think that she's shadowing like a Wall Street tycoon
Yeah.
too. She's
She-
trying to learn how to make money.
Or she'd have been like, what's her face in Cruel Intentions?
Yeah. Like
having
Catherine.
having her little games.
Yeah, because she
was messing with Chuck and Graham.
Oh,
I like to think that Sadie is taking business meetings at Studio 54.
Oh, for sure. She definitely brought Chuck and Graham with her from prep school. And I think that she definitely is like I said, she's type A. She knows what she wants. She's like a strong businesswoman, but she does know how to use her feminine wiles to get what she wants, as illustrated with Fabio. Those gross scenes.
You're a trash.
Fabio, yeah.
But yeah, it never says what her ex-husband did. We don't know how she met him.
I feel like he's very more down to earth.
Yeah.
So maybe she did have
I
some
think
like
he's
hippie
just
roots.
maybe just like a day trader too.
Mm-hmm. Like he makes money, but he doesn't care about it as much as she does.
But I like to think that he took off time of work to raise the kid.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And she's the one that ended up making all the money too.
Yeah.
So he's sort of the stay-at-home dad.
Yeah. She's giving him like, what is it, palimony when you pay the dad? I think it's palimony. Yeah. Oh wow. I'm writing it, you guys. I'm pitching it. Pitching to the CW.
I love it.
Tomorrow, the Rose and Sadie Diaries, from Jupiter Hollow to New York City. Okay, so they all meet. The four of them meet, and that scene is crazy. There's a little bit of overacting in that scene.
A little overacting. I love that you see when they're all on screen together, and they had to do some optics. They had to sort of layer scenes into it's whatever they did in The Parent Trap.
Yeah.
And The Birds, whatever process of film that is.
Yeah.
Of when you layer shots on shots.
Right. It's probably not that far advanced.
No,
special effects. Like it's not CGI yet.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
it's all,
I mean, I
it's
think
not
it's
in camera.
I
but
think it's
pretty
pretty
split screen.
I
kind
think
of
it's
stuff.
pretty old school filmmaking that they had been doing since the 60s.
Yeah.
I think that Disney sort of pioneered all of that too.
They did, and it wasn't until Back to the Future 2 when Zemeckis came in and did some stuff with motion control cameras, so that they can get a little bit more sophisticated moves out of it. But yeah, I think it was just a lot of blue screen and filming everybody twice and stand-ins and all that.
Yeah.
It's pretty successful.
Yeah, it's a funny scene.
Yeah,
I
they
remember
seem like the eyes are in the right place. They always look for that. Like there's some movies where you tell they're like looking at the floor or something.
Yeah,
it's the Jordan Peele us moment of the movie. I remember when Jordan Peele a few months ago when he was doing press for Us, and he was on I think it was on like Conan or something, and he dropped a Big Business reference.
I think it was on Fallon.
What?
Fallon, and you could tell the audience didn't get it, and he's just like, he's like, Big Business.
He was on
Fallon.
Fallon.
Audience, I'd be like,
Lily
yes!
Tomlin? No,
because I remember Jimmy Fallon
man.
chuckled, and I think he knew what it was, but the audience didn't react, and he was just like, "You guys."
But I like that. Even Jordan Peele, when he made Us, definitely had Big Business in mind when he was making this genre movie about doppelgangers and twins, too.
Mm-hmm.
And just everyone has their own little pair that you could just run into.
Yeah. Well, there's also my favorite Drew Barrymore and George Newbern classic called Doppelganger.
I don't know this one.
Oh, it's terrible. I believe it was an HBO original movie.
Oh.
And it's not great, but it's about the husband from Father of the Bride. He was also in
what was that actor? What was his name?
George Newbern.
Oh, George Newbern. Yeah,
he was also in, if you remember, Adventures in Babysitting.
Yes, the one at the end.
The one at the end.
The college boy.
Yeah, the college guy.
I'm a senior in high school.
In high
school.
Well, you can't be a senior. Yeah. So him and Drew Barrymore, and she like rents out his spare room, and they're trying to go for this like Vertigo like thing where he would see her out in LA and just be like, "Oh, there she is," and like reach out for her. But then it takes this turn, and she's like a monster. She fully is like this alien monster that like
Never heard of this.
It's like this weird sex monster that tries to eat him.
This movie sounds amazing.
Yeah. It's called Doppelganger, and I remember seeing it on like Cinemax or like late night HBO and just being like, "What is this?"
Was he also in that ice skating movie, or is that someone?
That's DB Sweeney.
Okay,
Are you
Cutting
talking
Edge?
about the Cutting Edge?
That's a
We were
different
just
guy.
talking about the Cutting Edge today.
They look alike.
They look
They both
alike.
have that
They
like
do.
never shaved face.
Yes, which was rare in the 80s. You know, you always had a clean-shaven guy. But yeah, that was DB Sweeney.
What are other movies that have to do with doppelgangers and twins?
Twins
There was
with-
that.
Twins with Schwarzenegger
there's
and
twins with
Danny
Schwarzenegger
DeVito.
and Danny DeVito. There's also that Laura Linney and Topher Grace movie where Topher Grace looks like her ex-boyfriend.
I don't know.
Oh,
this
I
either.
didn't see
Yeah.
that one.
There is the ABC Family show. Oh God, what's that
Switch
called?
to Birth?
Switch to Birth.
You love Switch.
I
I
love
remember
Switch to
you
Birth.
mentioning Switch to Birth to
There's
us before.
something about that. It's just so fascinating.
Well, it's a very dynamic premise
Yeah.
too. That there's a lot of material there if you
Right.
really flesh it out.
Yeah.
And you talk
and
about
again,
it.
kind
Yeah.
of like the Colombian twins, like
Yeah.
in Switched Up Birth, it's also like a kind of rich and poor thing.
Sure.
So and there's also the handicap, like the girl who was supposed to be in the rich family was deaf because she got an illness when she was a kid, and if she was rich, they would have been able to fix it. But
cure
because she
her.
was poor, she went deaf
Oh,
because of this illness. So
geez
there's all that
Louise.
drama. Yeah,
Oh man.
it's really good.
We'll eventually do the Parent Trap.
And
on the
there's
show,
also
too.
there's also both parents.
And I will hear none of
Lindsay.
this bullshit that the Lindsay Lohan one is better than the Haley
What?
Mills one.
Who
Because the
the
Haley
heck?
Mills one
Yeah.
is
How dare
far
you.
superior.
Who would say such a thing?
Clearly.
And I will slap you in the face if you try to argue
Yeah.
against that.
Plus, there's every Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen
Okay.
vehicle
It's true.
from the mid-90s. Did they ever play like, oh, we don't know each other? Did
So
they ever do,
it,
like, a Parent
so
Trap kind of thing?
it takes two. The theatrical
I was
one.
going to say that was a theatrical.
That's
that was the
more or
real
less a
one.
remake of the Parent Trap, and also they're not sisters in it; they just look alike.
Oh,
Because I think that they were afraid that they would get sued by Disney
Sure.
if they were actually twins. So I think in the movie it's played that they just look alike.
Well, and also the Olsen twins are trying to like perpetuate that lie that they are not identical twins and that they are fraternal twins.
I feel like-
Lie.
But yeah, they always say that they're fraternal.
They always
twins.
say they're fraternal.
You can, if you know the little details, you can spot them in movies.
When they're children,
If you know specific qualities about them.
when they're children, today it's like night and day. But like
Yeah.
as children, they look
Identical. Yeah.
identical.
I think they are fraternal. There's a slight height difference. Identical
Oh, yeah.
would not
There's-
have a
there's
height
never
difference.
A height, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Ashley would always be the girly one in all of the direct-to-video movies, and Mary Kate would be the tomboy. That's how you could always tell them apart.
Which one married the giant old man?
That's
Mary Kate.
Mary Kate, because Mary Kate was more of the actress of the two because they used Mary Kate the most on Full House. Not that I don't know anything about the Olsen twins.
I mean,
I know Mary Kate was on Weeds. She was terrible.
really?
But she
And
was
she was
on
no
it.
she would
good?
do the most
I thought-
acting.
I thought
She was also in the
no.
Whackness too.
She was. I remember on Weeds. She was like a Christian stoner. It was a weird concept.
Yeah,
Like she
Stoner.
was really into Jesus and really into weed, and it was like supposed to be cute, but I didn't buy it. It was weird.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So they finally meet up, all four, and somehow thankfully it's off screen,
yeah.
but they like explain everything to each other.
That would be very.
I guess they
Yeah.
figured
dialogue
out
if
because
they have
well,
that.
the City twins did know that they were born
Yes, yeah.
in Jupiter Hollow, so
True,
I guess
yeah.
they could figure out like, oh well, we must have been swapped since we were both born in the same place.
Yeah, true. So they kind of explain everything. They kind of figure all out what's going on, and they're like, okay, well, this board meeting's going to happen, so we've got to get in there and cancel.
They locked Sadie in the closet because they knew that she would sail them up the river
Yeah.
if it was up to her.
This is where she straight up becomes a villain of this movie.
Yeah. So they have to. Country Sadie has to make the big speech and save the day.
And we didn't mention that Country Sadie has a videotaped episode of Dynasty that
Joan
she watches over and over
Loves
again.
Joan Collins.
And
she-
Alexis Carrington.
She drops Alexis Carrington.
I own 51% of this corporation.
And I'll fire you, all of you, on the spot. She's like, Rose, may I have a glass of water?
She's reenacting the entire scene. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's
But
pretty
I
good.
mean, they rally everybody to their side, and I guess they save Jupiter
We're
Hollow.
gonna save
at the
Jupiter
end.
Hollow. We can't put all of those people out on the streets
Right.
just to strip mine them.
Yeah.
And they make a good point. It's also to save their asses, like she says. It's
Yeah.
also to save their own asses because they have an image problem.
Yeah, because they've done this before.
Santa's.
With Santa's. Santa City. Yeah, they've done this kind of thing before, and they had picketers, and they had Santas, and they had families already kind of like picketing their company. So they're like, no, we don't need to have that again. So
they bring the board members. I mean,
the shareholders.
And
or
everyone
whatever they are.
cheers.
Yeah. It's a big
It all
cheer
works
moment.
out.
Yeah, it does.
And then you get them all going their separate ways outside the plaza.
Yeah.
with their switched mins.
With their switched men. Yep.
Yeah, but Country Sadie has not a change of heart. I mean, she did always say that she doesn't really appreciate Jupiter Hollow and she wants to go to New York. So you'd think that maybe she would be on Sadie's side, and
Yeah.
Sadie's trying to get her on her side.
She has
saying,
those country
like,
values, man, still.
Yeah, that trumped everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, there's that final scene of them walking out, and all four of the men are lined up in a row, just like
you,
all right, yeah.
Like the doctor even has the ring. He's like, you want it?
Which
you want
one
it?
wants it?
Who wants to be engaged to me?
That's the weakest pairing. I think
Yeah,
the
I know
rest
that
have something. I feel like even Sadie, Shelton, and Fabio. I mean, this is not going anywhere. He like came here for this business deal.
They're going to be broken up in a week.
Yeah. And also, like, what's going to happen tomorrow? She's still running Miramax.
Yeah.
Like, she's just going to find some other like shitty company to buy and sell off in pieces. So
Maybe that is what happened. Maybe they stay together and strip mine some other little town.
I don't think Sadie Shelton learned anything.
Probably not.
But now she has 3 sisters as opposed to just one to sway her
And to keep
to
her in
do the
check.
right thing,
Yep.
to keep her in check. Exactly.
And
So-
maybe if Sly and Country Sadie end up together, they maybe parent better, and then even that will be against her, or maybe sway her. Like
Yeah,
that's
true.
All, it's called co-parent. It's like a throuple raising little Seth Green.
That's the thing. If you are now the stepmother of your sister's kid,
Yeah.
but they're not sisters. I mean, they are sisters, but they don't
By
have
blood.
a relationship.
It's so
It's
weird.
still weird. All right, so now we need a reboot. A 2019. We need to Where Are They Now? We're all 4 of them, and grown-up Seth Green. Obviously.
Are we going to be using the same actors?
Oh yeah.
Is it going to be like a Hulu like reboot?
Yeah, it's got to be all of them. They're all still around.
Yep.
Everybody's still around.
Except Edward Herman.
Oh, except
R.I.P.
Edward Herman. Yeah.
I loved him as a kid. Ever since Annie, when he played President Franklin.
It was FDR.
Yes, he was FDR.
That's right.
I mean, me and Edward Herman go way back from my VHS of Overboard and the Lost Boys that I would watch back to back.
That's great. Oh.
Yeah, Edward Herman is turning out to be a Movies That Made Us Gay all-star, along with Mary Gross. Did they hire Seth Green because they wanted a redheaded kid?
They definitely dubbed that voice. That is not Seth Green's voice.
Some of it's his voice, but a lot of it's not. He may have just been... Maybe by the time they had to loop it, he came in and he was like...
He was working the rounds, though.
Sounded like
in
Chris,
the 80s. Whenever you probably had to read a 10-year-old kid, Seth Green was probably always in that waiting room.
Yeah. He was in commercials. He was in movies.
He was in Radio Days. He was in Radio Days.
Yeah, he was
and
young
then
Woody Allen.
He followed this with My Stepmother is an Alien. Is he in My Stepmother is
He
an
is in
Alien?
My Stepmother's an Alien.
It? Yeah, he was all
Yeah.
over.
He was
Remember
good business. Go ahead.
Christian Jacobs of the Aquabats.
Oh, yeah.
He was in Pretty in Pink. He was the kid that was... I don't know what he was doing. Not
One of the
shoplifting.
nerds?
No,
No.
he was a little kid. He was a little
Oh.
kid, and Annie Potts,
Oh, yeah.
staple guns him
He
or
was just
something.
looking at stuff.
Oh,
He
why
wasn't
did
even- she just thought he was shopping. She was just being a little too Annie Potts. What's that character's name?
Two Annie Potts.
Oh, crap.
She has a crazy name. Varla or something.
The record store is named Trax.
He was literally looking at a record, and she was like, Put it down.
Yeah, he's like, you missed my eye by an inch. She's like, half inch.
Half inch. I always remember that. Yeah, that was him.
Iona.
That was Christian Jacobs.
Iona. Yeah.
Iona.
What did I say her name was? Varla. I was
Varla. Close.
Iona.
He was also like in a Mel Brooks movie, but I think it was one of the ones that no one watched.
A minor one.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
But yeah, he was a child star for a little bit of the 80s.
Well, I think Seth Green will come back for our Hulu reboot of Big Business. And we'll also have to work on casting the Rose and Sadie Diaries, my CW prequel series. This movie is just rife for content.
There's a lot of different directions you can go with this movie.
What do you call it?
IP?
Intellectual property? Just the IP is just like...
The big...
Through the roof.
The Big Business universe.
Yeah. The Big Business extended cinematic universe.
Well, maybe it's like too late for Seth Green's character. Like he's just spoiled through and through, and he becomes the next City Sadie. He takes over the business.
Over Miramax.
And then Rune and City Rose have kids, and they got to go like fight against, their uncle.
I like it.
What's his name? Little Sly.
Sly Jr.
We haven't figured out those names.
Sly Jr. Yeah.
Got to fight the power.
I like it. We can write this fan fiction, you guys. We'll get it off the ground. Anybody out there listening, feel free to contribute to our Big Business sequel and prequel. Yeah. Okay, there's so much here because we've got the Rose and Sadie Diaries prequel, but we also have the half-hour sitcom sequel.
Yes.
That's just them immediately after the movie
I'll
ends.
be the showrunner of that one.
Yeah. And then we have like a limited series that's set in the present, with Sly Jr. running Miramax and Rune Jr.
We've got an empire here.
Yeah, this is like Shondaland. We're like the new Shonda Rhimes, you guys. I got it. We're on board. Emmys 2021. Watch out.
Golden Globe for Seth Green.
And
Finally.
And if Edward Herrmann were still around, they definitely moved to Jupiter Hollow,
Sure.
and they enlightened the country folk, and they're everyone's favorite.
They start like they start like an Airbnb business.
But how funny would it be when they come to Jupiter Hollow in the first season of the sequel sitcom, and like no one knows that they're a couple?
Yeah, they're all like Rune.
That's
all
part of the
like,
fun.
Yeah.
Is that it's
they're
a
just
slow
like Bert and
reveal?
Ernie.
Yeah.
they're just roommates.
And then when they find out, they don't care
because
they're
they
Jupiter
fell in
Hollow.
love with them.
Yeah,
they thought they might have been homophobic, but now that they've met both of them, they've just fallen in love with them.
I agree,
and they're one of their own.
Yeah, wow.
So as we
This
wrap
is
up,
great, you guys.
did you want to talk a little bit about when you were a kid? Because you mentioned this of how having this affinity for Bette Midler as a child,
Sure,
and just kind of looking back on that, and it really didn't take you until fairly recently.
I mean,
to kind of realize that.
I didn't know anybody watched this movie besides me. I literally thought I was the only person on earth who watched this movie multiple times. And I was in a car with some friends going to a club. And somebody mentioned Bette Midler, and a girl in the car started yodeling and said, "Little old lady who," and I was like, "What did you just say right now to my face? Like, what? Other people know what Big Business is?" And like now, again, just like Bette Midler has this very like specific character that you'd play in the 80s, very big, very over the top. She wasn't like, she knew who she was always. She wasn't like afraid of anybody else, including like men, you know. She was like a woman who was in control of herself. She was like funny. She was attractive. She was all of these things. And usually movies are made for men. They're made with men in mind. They're made with men as the main characters, and women are... I mean, this is just the reality. Right. This is a fact. And to me as a kid, seeing this woman being in charge of an entire movie and several movies, all the ones we talked about, I was just like, what the hell? Like, this is like just aspirational to me. And I just really had this affinity for all of these characters. And And then this movie in particular just has like a lot of funny gay shit in it. But yeah, I don't know. I just always wanted to see her sing and dance and be funny and curse. And
I feel like this movie does have a soft spot for people in their later to mid 30s, early 40s, that when you mention it, it just kind of gay or straight. When you mention big business, they're always like, "Oh, I used to love big business as a kid."
Yeah.
So it's a very specific generation that grew up on this movie too.
Yeah. What, Carla? What did about it kind of do you think kind of drew you to it or made you go back to it? Just,
I mean, again,
comedy?
I guess, yeah, it was funny and just also, yeah, there are 4 strong female leads, which I didn't really think about it at the time, but I must have been drawn to that.
Yeah.
And also, I guess I was more of a suburban girl,
Yeah.
so both city and country was kind of exotic to me.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of funny laughing at the stereotypes and, you know, they would talk different or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of fun. And a little bit of, you know, romance, which is interesting. Like the whole switcheroo at the end it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But as a kid, you're just like, oh, you know, it's like just like a little bit of romantic happy ending, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
And yeah, and like I've said, like the wearing sneakers in your business dress like in New York City, it's really exciting. You're just like, that's gonna be me one day. You know, you just expect it. Like,
totally.
that's where I'm going, probably.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna be
Looking back on this movie now, I definitely grew up in a Jupiter's Hollow type of town.
Yeah, which was super exotic to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yes, and I love this song.
I love this song. I had no idea this movie ended with this song until today.
Yeah.
I love this song.
And it's a great ending too because it like extends into the credits. You know, that's always fun as a kid.
I
like,
love
it's
that
still going
in 80s movies. Mel Brooks movies would do that.
It's a good play out for all of your characters with this song.
Yeah, for sure.
I often confuse this song with the other song that's similar, King of Wishful Thinking, that opens Pretty Woman.
From Pretty Woman.
Yep.
Yep. Very similar. Also very uplifting. Not the same song. Steve Winwood. Blue-Eyed Soul. Love it.
Oh, man. Thank you so much for joining us, Carla. This was really
for
fun.
having me.
Yeah, this was really fun.
I love when we watch the movie with the guests, too.
Yeah, that's all. That's
and I
always
am
a good time.
super glad it still holds up. That was like it
Yeah,
was
it
enjoyable. It
does.
wasn't
It's
like
still funny.
Yeah.
It ages really well. They're
So-
both great in it.
Yeah.
And so much fun to still watch.
Yes. So everyone listening who hasn't seen it, see it.
Yeah, definitely. Go watch it. Find it. It's online. You can stream it. It's on HBO Go.
It's HBO Go.
It's on HBO
Go watch
Go.
it.
So go get your parents' password for HBO Go. And you can watch this movie anytime. Do it right now. It's funny. Thanks for coming on, Carla, one
Thank
more
you.
time.
So much.
Boys and girls, find us online. Find us on social media. We're Movies That Made Us Gay. We are at Movies That Made Us Gay on Instagram and Facebook. And when you're on iTunes, don't forget to
Give us 5 stars.
always smash 5 stars. Do it.
All the way to the right.
Yes. We'll be back next week, everybody. Thanks. Bye.
See you later. Bye.